registration starting. Okay. Okay, so thank you, Lucia. Thank you very much. Okay, so welcome. I think that we can start. Sine, do you agree? We can start. Is that okay for you?
Yes, that's very fine.
Okay, okay. I see also Luisa, Angela, and then Tamara. So welcome everybody to this workshop this morning about digital learning. We will explore in particular way the experience of a Danish college, the Roskilde Business College. Colleagues from Denmark will tell about these important experience about digital learning and how maybe these methodology can be connected also with implementation of possible virtual internationalization processes, so virtual mobility in particular way. This is a workshop in the framework of a project, an Erasmus project, a TA2 project called the VIMOINVET, that is a virtual mobility in the VET system. This is a project that was approved last year. And we will have a presentation, so an introduction about this project, just to understand the context where we are and why we are going to do this workshop today. So you can find in the program a first introduction about the VIMOINVET project. I try first to share the program, so you can all see what we are going to do this morning. First, okay, I hope that you can see the program here. Okay, so first we will have an introduction about the project, as I said. Then we will go deeper into the digital learning and into the experience of the Roskilde Business College and the Danish Knowledge Center. This experience will be presented by Sine Felding, teacher and also responsible of the digital learning processes and learning digital innovation in Roskilde Business College, and by Christina Torrid Madsen, who is a lecturer and is a teacher directly involved in digital learning in the college itself. After the presentation of the methodology, we will have the possibility to explore better the methodology and one of the modules proposed by Roskilde Business College. So we will have a sort of simulation. We will experiment by ourselves what does it mean digital learning and using one of the modules proposed by the college, by the Danish college. So we will be divided into different breakout rooms, and we will have the possibility to be moderated by Danish teacher in the exploration of one of these modules. The module that will be used will be one about the global sustainable development goals. In the end of the simulation, we will come back in the main room and we will have an open discussion about the digital learning, about also this experience presented by the Danish college. So we will have an interaction moderated by Tamara Rodriguez and Louise Bossenin. I just forgot to introduce myself. Actually, I'm Francesca Drago. I'm International Coordinator for Scuola Centrale Formazione, and Scuola Centrale Formazione is the coordinator of the VIMOINVET project. So we coordinate this Erasmus TA2 project. I give the floor to Angela Vila. She represents the Masinska Scola of Pančevo in Serbia. Masinska Scola is partner of the project VIMOINVET. So I will give the floor to Angela and I ask her to present first the framework of the project, so to understand what we are doing within this project and which are our objectives. So I stop my sharing and I kindly ask to Angela to start your introduction about VIMOINVET project. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Francesca. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon.
depending on how early you're waking up. I will represent the basic things about the project. I'd like to thank Francesca at this moment for getting us all together and writing this project. It was not easy in all of these hectic times to continue the implementation, but we're hanging in there. So there were some adjustments you will see now in my presentation, but hopefully everything will come out as we planned. I just need to find my presentation. Okay, it's not present, but it won't give me the option to.
If you need help, Angela, I can try to launch your presentation.
Yeah, they won't give me the option to download it from my computer.
Okay, so maybe if you
You
prefer,
want to?
I can, yes.
Yeah.
I can do, and you give me the sign when I have to change the slide.
Okay, maybe I should try one more time. Hold on. I don't know why it won't give me. No, it won't give me.
Okay, I'm sharing your presentation,
Yeah,
Angela.
Okay.
Do you see it,
Yes,
Lydia?
yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Maybe you can just make it full screen so I can read. I think that the fine print I won't be able to read.
Okay.
Okay, let's try the next slide and then I'll see if everything. Okay, so our Erasmus Plus project is a K2 project. It's strategic partnership, exchange of best practices among partners. The planned duration was 2 years, and we have 5 partners from 5 countries: Italy, France, Serbia, Denmark, and Spain. Go on. Our priorities in the project in the VET system is initial and continuous professional development of VET teachers, trainers, and mentors in both school and work-based settings, developing partnerships, supporting setting up and implementation of internalization strategies for VET providers, and supporting the uptake of innovative approaches and digital technologies for teaching and learning. We have all of this today here, all of our priorities in the project in one place. Go on, Francesca. Okay, so our objectives were to implement internalization strategy of VET alongside the geographical mobility through home-based internalization activities integrated to the formal learning pathways of young people from European VET system. Some of the countries that are partners have gone a lot of steps ahead, and some are still behind in the development of internalization strategies in the VET system. So in this project, we're really learning of what we have done and what we can do. We are also enabling the VET educators to acquire skills facilitating and conducting virtual learning activities such as this. And also exchanges and conducting transnational distance learning activities. To integrate the virtual dimension in learning within the VET system with a view to inclusivity, thus responding both to the need to interact young people with fewer opportunities to use teaching technologies through a motivating and creative approach. We have also done not within the project as a activity, but we have already connected between some of the partners and exchanged and done this kind of learning in the VET system. We have added the virtual dimension, and we have introduced it to our students. We also have planned in the project to continue to do these activities, and like I said at the beginning, hopefully we will meet all of our goals by the end. To organically integrate the European dimension in learning within the VET system in order to promote a real European culture and citizenship among our young people. This is a very good opportunity especially for my country and for my students, because we are not officially part of the European Union, but we're definitely part of the European culture. And the kids enjoy learning about the language and the cultures and the educational system and the methodologies that their peers use in other countries. Go ahead, Francesca. Of course, we work on inclusion and sustainability. We had some tasks foreseen within the project. We had the meeting aimed as our LTT training on the topic of education and well-being and internalization. This was headed by our teachers at the Roskilde College. Also, we plan on the collection of good practices in virtual mobility in the terms of didactic organization, methodologies, tools adopted by the expert partners in other schools such as HETEL, and preparation of internal documents explaining these good practices. Collecting of the outcomes and the experimentation in virtual mobility within partners in ordinary mobility projects. So we also have regular mobility activities within the projects, which we were not unfortunately able to implement to this day. And again, I have to regret to say we won't be able to for the next couple of months, but we are really hoping that somewhere from the spring next year we will be able to do this kind of mobility. As seen here, we have one transnational mobility foreseen for the Serbian learners. Because, as I said, the Serbian partner, my school, my country, doesn't have that much experience, and every mobility, both virtual and in person, is very precious to us. So we are really hoping that this will be implemented very soon. Identification of learning outcomes resulting from virtual mobility. This is something we are already on our way of accomplishing, and the production of guidelines and final recommendations for the integration of virtual mobility in geographic mobility projects in the learning pathways of learners. Hopefully this will be our conclusion, and we will have this at the end. Go ahead, Francesca. Okay, we started with our kickoff meeting online, not as planned in different countries every meeting, but we have kept them online. We have started in February. Instead of the 5 project team meetings in partner countries, we held project team committee meetings every 2 months online. And this practice, as I said, to our regret, will have to continue to spring to 2022, when we do plan on asking for the prolongation of the implementation of the project, and hopefully we will meet up some of the planned meetings within the partner countries. Go ahead, Francesca. Instead of the planned meeting in Spain and meeting the best practices in Spain in virtual mobility, we held a workshop, Let's Create Our Virtual Mobility. The main goal was to give visibility to the project, to disseminate the results of the experimentation of the virtual exchange methodology applied in that context in the school year 2021, and all the materials are available on our partners' websites. This is our LTT training. One part is today, the virtual training, and the second part will be the training in Denmark in 2022. We have decided to change this activity as it was first foreseen in the project, because we didn't want to wait too long and not continue with our activities. The target of our transnational meetings and exchanges, learning, and our LTT is the directors of our vocational schools and centers, the didactic and area coordinators of transnational and interregional mobility projects, initiatives promoted by the various European national regional programs, both outgoing and incoming. You lost me for a second. Is everything okay now?
Oh, yes, okay,
Okay.
okay. I was thinking it was my problem. Okay.
No, it was obviously mine.
Okay, okay.
Okay, the teachers involved in the planning of mobilities, other teachers involved in internalization activities. So all really stakeholders in our surroundings, both in schools and all other relevant institutions and individuals that take part in improving this. Do you hear me? Yes?
Yes, now we
Okay,
hear you.
okay,
Yes,
because
yes, yes.
you said here that I left the meeting.
We
Okay.
can we can hear you. We can hear
Okay.
you, Angela.
Our collections of best practices will be definitely the experience of expert partners, which will we today we will take in, and the experimentations of all partners during the implementation of the project. We have already taken part in some of the experimentational activities. Our school, Serbia, also with some other partners in the project. Our guidelines will have the internalization dimension at home and improvement in the mobility quality, the methodological dimension, the innovative and inclusive teaching methods based on centrality of the learning and encouragement of creativity, responsibility, autonomy, facilitation, role of the teacher, tutor, in learning virtual process. This is really the key part because it's a lot on the teacher to motivate the children, to motivate themselves to take part in such activities that are not everyday, that are not typical, and then definitely ask more engagement and learning new methodologies. The technical dimension allows the providers and the learners to use mobile communication tools, web apps for didactic implementation and management, platforms for virtual exchange and sharing of materials. These are the benefits of these times, the technological dimension. And I think that if we ever saw the benefits of this dimension was during this COVID pandemic. I don't think we would have been able to implement our projects or do much of the school activities if we did not use this dimension. Go ahead, Francesca. Expected impacts, of course, improvement in the internalization strategies of the project partners. Some of us will develop the strategies. We don't have them yet to improve them, but definitely to develop them. Implementation of good practices acquired, shared within the management of the learning mobility through the implementation of blended learning modalities, virtual mobility supporting geographical mobilities. This is something we talked about a lot during our project team meetings. More than ever have we now realized that both dimensions are extremely important, and it's almost impossible to implement this one without the other. Integration of virtual mobility, virtual in Erasmus geographic mobility and formal learning pathways through procedure of evaluation and validation of learning outcomes, increase the number of learners involved in VET internalization process through participation in blended mobility. This is something we are directly having in this project. Increase the attractiveness of that system through virtual mobility and geographic mobility and means of motivation to study and prevention of dropouts. This is definitely helping the VET system get a totally different view. Improved methodological, managerial, entrepreneur skills of the project operators and beneficiaries, and improved linguistic competences of the project operators and beneficiaries. This is something that is happening all the time, but we are hoping with this project we contribute to it, of course. Go ahead. Thank you for your attention, and may your curiosity about virtual learning be at your best for the next 2 hours, because we have talked about it so much with our partners in Roskilde College, and it's really something you have to understand and you want to learn, of course, to improve yourself and improve your work. Thank you very much, everybody, for your attention.
Okay, so thank you very much, Angela, for this very complete and full presentation of the project VIMOINVET. So it was useful to understand the context, so where we are and which are the origin of all this work. I don't want to catch any time more, and I would give the floor to Sine Felding, responsible of digital learning processes and innovative project in Roskilde Business College, for the presentation, so to start the presentation of your experience about digital learning. So Sine, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your presentation. So we really look forward to showing you one of our digital platforms that we use in our daily life, but also right now we are actually using it in a mobility, virtual mobility exchange with a school in Trento in Italy. So hopefully you will learn and enjoy this possibility to see this platform. So I'll try to share my screen. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Good. All right. So Christina, my colleague, she'll start to present this.
Yeah, good. So first of all, we have the Danish Center of Knowledge. What does that entail? So what we're going to cover today is, first of all, what is the Danish Center of Knowledge? And then we're going to talk a bit about how can we use this in our virtual mobility. We're then going to have this walkthrough of the online material, but we're going to do this in the breakout rooms. So the thought is that it's not going to be a walkthrough in front of everyone, but we're going to have these breakout rooms to support each other in smaller groups. So we're going to sit with this more or less individually, but with the support of whoever is in the breakout room with us.
Yeah.
Yes, and then finally we're going to have some questions and conclusions. So what is the Danish Center of Knowledge? The Danish Center of Knowledge is a virtual and digital learning. We have this center with a lot of knowledge that we share, and the main department that we use in Roskilde Business College is the department called Knowledge of Data. The Danish Center of Knowledge also consists of other departments, such as digital commerce, which is also very useful for us. They also have crafts, such as design and architecture, Center for IT in education, etc. The departments are actually aimed towards the different relevant areas of expertise. So this is done according to education. And this is why that we as a business college have more interest in knowledge of data and the digital commerce. Yeah, that's pretty much how it's built up. It consists of a collaboration between the knowledge center and the schools. So we have this knowledge center that connects the rest of the schools who cooperate. We have these learning programs, and they're done with inputs from experts in the relevant areas. So, for example, the program that we're going to look at, the learning program, we have some inputs and videos from experts in the specific area about sustainability goals. This is financed by the Danish Ministry of Children and Education, and also by the work hours that the collaborating schools provide. So, for example, if we have, do you remember how many hours we provide?
No, I think it's about 100 hours per year.
Per year, yeah. So we pay with these 100 hours per year, and then the rest is financed by the Danish Ministry of Children and Education.
Yeah. And perhaps we can say that the hours is for teachers who joined the work of making new learning programs.
Yes. So what we're going to focus on today is the knowledge of data, and the knowledge center for data-based service business development. This is what this entails. Just like I said, in Denmark, there are two mercantile centers of knowledge that we take advantage of. There's the knowledge of data and the digital commerce. We have the focus on data and how to prepare young people for the labor market in the future. So they're going to do that through data and data-based business development. And these are the relevant areas for our students. Sometimes on occasion, some areas may cross over, where both departments have programs that are relevant. So we do have a lot of collaboration. For instance, we have conferences and study trips. The core tab.
I'm really sorry. I think because for us the PowerPoint is not. We're still on the first slide.
We've gone through 6 now.
I think there is an issue, and also it's not on the presentation mode. Maybe like we can see the whole PowerPoint thing.
Okay, that's a mistake.
Say maybe.
No. So I'll just stop sharing for a moment.
Yeah. We don't want you to miss out on the whole thing.
That's why.
Maybe I can try. I can try to share your presentation, Sine. What do you think about? Maybe if you have
1 moment.
Yeah,
we might have.
Okay. You can. You try, and then you let me know.
Det er normalt, det man vil gøre.
Ja, lige nu kan du slet ikke få lov at dele noget. Yeah. So do you see it now?
Yes, it's
I think we are
uploading.
We are on the slide number 6. Maybe if you try, if we can see if it's moving or not. You try to go. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
If you can just put it on the presentation mode, and I think that would be perfect.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, good.
Started for started.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's not on the presentation mode, but otherwise okay. It's just we are back to the first slide.
Okay, perhaps then we should just go out of presentation mode, because then we can see them all.
Yeah. Okay, it's good. We are on slide number 4.
So maybe Francesca, if you would share it.
Yeah, let's do that.
That might be better. Yeah.
Yes. I do it immediately. So,
thank you.
Okay. So, do you see it?
It's coming. Yeah.
Now this is presentation mode.
Yes. Okay, it's moving. Good.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. I go to this slide number 6.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
This is one. This is the 6th one. Okay.
Good. Yes. Okay. So to continue, the core task here is to create a digital learning program or multiple programs. And we do this with the teachers on the mercantile business schools. So like I said, for example, we have perhaps 100 hours. where our teachers go and help develop these digital learning programs. And we do this on the development seminars, and they are arranged about 6 or 8 times a year. And that is when teachers meet up to arrange these digital learning programs, to create them and develop them, to find out which experts need to be used, to be interviewed. And then the Center of Knowledge will help combine this whole thing. They get the experts' videos with the tasks that are created, the text that is written, and combines it all to one big learning program, like the one that we're going to look through later. Yeah. So
Go on,
yeah,
please.
next please. Yeah. So these digital learning programs, we work with the newest topics in database service and business development, because that is what is relevant to us as a business school. So these topics ensure that students, they gain knowledge of the newest information and technologies. And currently we have around 58 programs available.
Yes, go on, please. So we have various topics of the learning programs, and for instance, we have an AI topic where the students, they actually get the goggles on and try to learn various things during this learning program. Another thing is what we're going to look into today. It's about sustainable development goals, but there's also something about marketing, omnichannel, data ethics, online marketing, social media, and stuff like that. So we have a lot of various topics, and the topics, they are being chosen according to the school's wishes for what would be interesting for us as schools to teach in, and of course to be on top of the newest methods and technologies. Please go on. So the principles behind each learning program is that it's designed to have a duration of about 3 to 4 hours. And all of them, they're not the same, but they are built up in the same way. So it consists of various text articles about the topic, and then there are 1 or 2 or 3 experts into that line of business, you can say, and they will make short videos based on questions from the teachers who create this program. There's also a podcast about on the topic, so that students will be able to know deeply about this topic. So the podcast has a duration of about maybe 30 minutes. Then there are various challenges for the students. So they have quizzes and various tasks, drag and drop tasks, polls, various interactions where they can try digitally to make some tasks. And of course, they are all built up in a didactic frame according to the curriculums that we are working with. And we, of course, try to ensure the progression of the students' learning. Thank you. So as Christina just told, right now we have 58 programs, and more to come each year. About 6 to 8 programs will be added each year, and maybe some will also get too old and too irrelevant. But the Digital Learning Center, they also create webinars during the year. Some webinars are just for teachers, but some are also for students. So that could be in our line of business, that could be maybe a big retail chain explaining on how they are dealing with social media, for instance, or how they work with big data or newsletters or whatever could be interesting. Then they create relevant podcasts about topics that we find interesting, and then they also share the newest articles and ebooks about various topics into our line of business. Thank you. So this is just a picture from a recording of a learning program, because that's a learning program with artificial intelligence. So imagine that the students, they wear these goggles, and then you have the imagination of being at that actual retail Aldi store. And then they will be asked some various questions about how would they deal with, for instance, customer service or stuff like that. And then with their eyes, they can control. They have maybe 3 possibilities for answering, and then they can control it with their eyes, where they look at the 3 examples, for instance, and then the shop assistant will ask that question or reply, and if it's wrong, then it just circles around, and they will be asked again to walk through the process. And this AI session could be made in many lines of or many areas, you can say, not just from in shops. It could also be for instance in other vocational school line, for instance the mechanics. You could just be in front of a car and then imagine that something went wrong or something. So it's a very strong method to almost be there on yourself. It's very funny to try that. Yes, thank you. Yeah. No, it's okay.
Yeah,
Christina, yeah.
So the question here is, how can we use this in virtual mobility? So like Sina said, you can adjust it to whatever school you have, what your expertise is. But besides that, with this inspiration from this online program, students can actually work on assignments in English.
Yes.
So in that way they can practice their English and they can work on the same assignments. And then the students from the different countries, they can connect online and they can discuss their findings and also discuss their cultural points of view on these different assignments. So this is the way that we could use this to connect doing the same tasks and then connecting online to discuss them.
Yes, so actually that's what we're doing right now with the Trento Attività Scuola in Trento. So we're working on a social media project where the students, they meet on this platform and run through this program, and at the end they have to create an ad to a social media presenting or promoting a Danish restaurant in Italy or an Italian restaurant in Denmark. And that's a graphic school, and we're a business school, so we look into the business line, and the graphic school, they look into the graphics in the colors, in the logo and stuff like that. So hopefully it'll work out very well. We just started up this Tuesday and they met for the first time, but right now it's doing very good, I think. Yes? Okay. So that was more or less our brief presentation about the digital learning programs and the knowledge center that coordinates or this whole thing for the schools here in Denmark. And now we would like you to try this learning program on your own. So that's why we would like to have you divided into breakout rooms, so you in smaller group will be able to see it on your own, to see how does the task actually look, which kind of videos has been used here, and how is it structured. So our thoughts is that the small groups, everybody should log into this to try it on their own, and then have a common discussion in the breakout rooms to maybe talk about how could you use it in your own school. Well, here it says it has a duration of 45 minutes, but Francesca, you thought that an hour would be better, right? You're muted. You're still muted. Can't hear you.
Oh.
Francesca, we can't hear you.
Can you turn on your microphone, Francesca?
Okay, is okay now?
Now
Sorry,
we hear you.
because I had my presentation and I couldn't manage my mic. Yes, we have more or less 1 hour. So
Yes.
if you want to start now the breakout, we can have just a break of 5 minutes and
Yes.
then come back again. Do you need some time to organize? Okay, thank you, Lucia. So welcome again in the main room. I would ask to Sine, if Sine, you would like to add something, because in some break room, someone had some issue, maybe.
Yes. Yes. First of all, thank you for your participation. I've heard from my colleagues here that you were very interested and had a lot of questions, and that was very nice. But unfortunately, we had some technical issues. So one group that didn't work out, so they had to be split out in the other rooms. And then there was also some fallouts on the internet in some of the groups. So sorry for the technical issues. But hopefully you had a good understanding of what is this learning platform, and maybe you could see it to be used in another context, in another way, but with inspiration of such platform.
I want to say something, because actually we had now the possibility to simulate from ourselves, but just exploring the platform. And I did some question to Christina, who was our moderator in our breakout. Maybe I can do a couple of questions, but for all participants, because I think that it should be focused on which is the most relevant impact of a work of this kind, because I think that behind a platform of this typology there is a big investment, also in terms of financial investment. Definitely. And there is also a great investment in terms of methodological support, so in terms of pedagogical support. Yes. I find this activity very similar to another that I facilitator for virtual exchange in Erasmus. I find a lot of similarities. So I just wanted to ask to you, as you use this platform since 4 years, so it's a good time to explore and to understand which are the most important impacts you have seen in your students. So this is one of the questions. So in terms of learning outcome and in terms of impact, which is the added value to use a platform like this. And the other question was that actually we expect that you can invest in the translation, because if you want to use these on a transnational level, the modules should be translated at least in English, so that students from different countries can use a vehicular language. So these are the two comments that I just wanted to share with you, Sine. If you can answer to these two comments.
Yes, I'll try to do my best. So I guess that the output for the students is that they get the chance to work in a different way than what they're used to in the ordinary classroom. And they have the newest access to the newest technology and a lot of good learning materials that one single teacher would not be able to create for just one class. So here we have this joint collaboration between the schools and the backup system from the Knowledge Center, so that we can actually have a very nice learning materials for the students. So they are able to learn from various things such as podcasts, videos, quizzes, tasks, and stuff like that. So and I think that in general the students they like it a lot. They are very focused when they are dealing with this, and it varies from teacher to teacher how you actually use this learning platform. So you can just use part of it. So you can maybe just pick out a video and an article and then a task, or you can follow the whole program from start to the end. So it's up to you how you would like to use it as a teacher, and also according to how much time that you have on this topic. So as a teacher, sometimes you only have maybe 2 hours for one topic, and of course then you cannot use the whole program because it has a duration of about maybe 4 hours. So in that case you have to just use part of it, what you actually find interesting and relevant for the student. And then we have also been using it a lot when we were sent home online, all of us. And it was a different and funny way for the students to learn about various topics instead of just the teacher showing something from an ordinary PowerPoint presentation. And then some tasks for their books, from their books. So I think that's more or less what I find the output from the student is. And then to the second question, whether we were interested or ready to invest in more translations. So this is, as you know, a Danish platform, and it's a platform for 9 business schools here in Denmark. So in that way, we invest in a Danish system, but if it was to be used in an international context, I think the funding should come from other parts, maybe from another project or so.
Okay.
Did that answer the questions, Francesca? Or?
Yes. I was thinking about, because actually we saw a module in English, but you have all the other material in Danish language.
Yes.
So it's not an activity only for linguistic competencies, but it's more for general key competencies, and also for the autonomy, as we understood.
Exactly.
Awareness, critical thinking. So it's another way to explore also those competencies that are maybe less visible but important also for the labor market.
Yes, but of course it would be very nice to have an international platform similar to this here, so that it could be used in many countries, and also for some mobility, virtual mobility exchange or something between 2 countries.
Okay. So we have now a Mentimeter activity. So just to let this activity a little bit more interactive. So I would ask to Lydia to share the Mentimeter.
In the chat box you can see the code that you have to insert in the menti.com on your cell phone, and I share my screen so you can see the presentation also. And I think that Louise and Tamara will guide you during the questions.
Okay, so thank you guys. I give you the floor. Thank you, Sine.
Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Hello.
So,
Okay, so yeah.
please, please, Tamara.
No, I was waiting for Lydia to share the screen, but I can see it now. Can you see it as well? Yeah. Okay, so shall we, Luis? Shall you go to through the questions, and then I will try to comment on some of the answers?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've prepared a few questions, but we were going to ask a few more because sometimes it's just yes and no. But our idea behind it just so you can participate, open your mic and give us your point of view. So our first question is, so do you find this workshop useful to implement a future project of virtual or blended mobility? Did you find any idea of how you could use this digital learning for a international cooperation? So we have about 10, 11 yes. So that's pretty good news for us. I don't know if you have any comment, but just so if you answered it, please don't hesitate to give to explain why yes or why you think that was not like relevant. Also, it would be interesting as well.
Yeah, maybe even more interesting to know why some people didn't find it relevant, because we would like to know what we can do better for the future. Don't be shy.
We're not that many, actually. About 30 people, so this is really like open, and we can discuss freely and without any judgments. Just a simple discussion about how we could use this kind of e-modules for our international cooperation.
If no one wants to say anything, I will do it myself. Because I was also in one of the workshops, of course. And well, this is kind of a question for Sine maybe as well. I really like the layout of the platform and the structure of the course, and I think it seemed to be quite easy to create such a course. So not a lot of not very time consuming, so to say, apart from the previous research to develop the contents and look for the sources, of course. And then I also found it quite easy and friendly to go through it for a student. And I particularly like the activities proposed about reflection on what has been read or watched in the videos, and then the interaction with the students. But as for a teacher, I could imagine using this as part of a virtual mobility cooperation. But as a teacher, if I would like to create a course like this one for my own students, could I use the platform, or is it restricted to Danish colleges, or is there any possibility that other colleges outside Denmark could use the platform to create their own contents there?
No, it's not possible to create your own learning program. The learning program, they are structured by the Knowledge Center, and they create 6 to 8 programs each year. And actually, you said that it might not be that time consuming, but I just created one program recently, and I spent around 50 work hours, and then I had some technical support for a couple of days to make the various quizzes, to do the layout and stuff like that. And then they arranged with experts, made podcasts and videos. according to questions that I ask the experts about. So it's not that easy, but it's facilitated by the Knowledge Center. So you cannot use it on your own to create. You cannot use the platform to create new programs on your own.
And my other question, if that is not a possibility, then for example, we, the participants in this training, the possibility we have to use the platform is to access as guests, I guess, to the to the course that is in English, obviously, because the others wouldn't make much sense. So that is what we can do.
Yes.
Okay.
Signe, er det Moodle, det bliver lavet i? Ved du det? Er det Moodle, det bliver lavet i?
Ja.
Det kan du sige, fordi det har alle jo adgang til, hvis man vil.
Om de kan ikke lave det selv. Det er jo...
Måske lave noget, der ligner det.
Okay. So, well, the platform is, you can access the platform for only actually this program, because that's the only one at the moment in English. But this was also meant as an inspiration for future projects that might.
Yep. Thank you, Signe. Everything clear.
Okay.
Let's go to the next question.
The next question, yes, I think we're going to go a bit deeper. Second question is, did you find it useful to try the module, to try the program on your own? And if yes, why? If no, why as well? And also what I'm really interested in is what do you think about the program, the way, the methodology of the program, the way it is made, the way it is organized, and does it look like your modules if you do digital learning also in your schools, in your organization? Do you organize it the module the same way? Does it look like to what you do, or did it give you some ideas? I don't know. Personally, I found it really well designed, because I like the variety of activities, the fact that there are some videos, some text. Sometimes you have a quiz, you have to go to a link to another page and then to read another document, to fill in some blank. And this is what I really liked, and I think the content also was really interesting. So we have only some yes answers, so that's really good news. Do you want to share how and why you found it useful to try it on your own? And also if you have some remarks about, was it maybe, did you have enough time or not to try it and to go through all the thing, or was it too long? Do you have any comments about this?
Is there any volunteer, or shall I volunteer someone?
We're going to do like with students.
Yeah, then everybody is looking down, right? Okay, let's see, for example, Maria Lorenzini. Maria, are you there? You would like to share something with us? Maybe you answered no, or you didn't answer. You're not among these.
Someone raised.
You have a volunteer. You have a volunteer.
Nice enough to raise a hand. Thanks, Mikkel.
Brave one.
Hi, hello everyone. No, to be honest, we didn't have the chance to use it, but what I saw, I find it that it's very interesting, right? I don't know. My thought was just, I love we had something like that on our school, because I mean I'm new as a teacher, and many times I just feel out I don't have enough resources, right? Because we've got so many profiles amongst our students, and it'd be lovely just to have something like that and say, okay, I can find different resources in just one platform. So yeah, I love to have something like that. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, Mikkel. One brave person here.
I think the link will still be available if you want to try it later. You'll see, it's really interesting.
All right.
Yeah, it could. I think that's maybe one tip for us as the project team. But I think it could be nice to also for the training activity in Denmark for the visit that we are going to do probably in May, if everything goes well, maybe we should consider on having a kind of workshop on how to develop these modules online, because we saw how they look like and the platform they have used, but maybe the workshop could be about how to develop this kind of modules, and maybe if there are some available platforms out there, if they're for free, then the best. And then maybe we can start doing. Yeah, someone said that there are open platforms like Moodle. Yeah, that's one of the traditional ones, let's say. But maybe there are other tools there. I don't know. So maybe we could do an exchange on those, and then the whole process of how to develop a module like this one could be nice. Sine, yeah, you want to comment on this?
It's just to say that this is created in Moodle system. So if you used to work on Moodle, then it should be possible for you to make your own programs with inspiration maybe from this platform here. So if you are interested in working with that, but it is a bit time consuming if you'll have to have the whole possibility of having relevant people telling something in videos and stuff like that. But of course you can also do it with your regular learning materials, and then just arrange it in a more digital way, in order for the students to be more inspired and to try something new.
Someone else has their hand raised, or
I think it was Sine.
Okay.
It
Okay. Okay, so maybe then we can move to the next question. Yeah.
Yes. The first question is: would your learners be interested in participating in a module session like this, like the one you tested? And for example, to try it maybe at the same time with other learners, so they can do the activities with some colleagues and learners from Denmark or Italy or France, and so they can debate about the content and do the activity and the assignments with other learners from another country. Do you think your learners would be interested in that? Okay. Very positive today. A lot of yes. I like the energy.
I would like to say something about this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, because I saw the module, and I saw that in the module there were some videos from the TED shows, from the TED show, and in these videos, of course, for example, the level of the language is very, very high.
Yeah.
So the level of English for some topics could be high. I'm thinking about our context, of course. So I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about our students, because we have students who can have a good level of English, but other students in our context don't have a so high level. So actually, when we try to have exchange among students from different countries, what we do is also an adaptation of the topics to their level of English, because in an exchange or in a virtual mobility, so if we think at the international process, they have to speak a vehicular language in order to understand each other. And sometimes the level of English is a complicated thing to manage. So at least in our context, they can of course, but the topic required to be adapted also to the level of English, and the kind of activities maybe also they should be adapted to the level of English. So to have, for example, a free discussion with our students, you have to guide them. So in this case, I was asking first to Cristina, and I also can forward the question to Sine. How much is important the guide of a facilitator in this kind of activity? Because, you know, students sometimes don't have the autonomy to do this task alone, but they just need to be supported. It's not teaching, but it's facilitation. Is what I think that is very similar in a virtual exchange program, for example.
Yes, it's my impression that most teachers, they use, for instance, the videos to show on the common screen, and then to discuss it afterwards, and then they will be able to work on their own for answering the tasks or their final products and so on. So it needs some facilitation from the teacher, and just to make sure that everybody understood the context and how they could use this information for solving their tasks afterwards. And I agree that this TED Talk, because it's also very fast when they talk, so it might be a bit difficult. But in most of the learning programs, then they have created the Knowledge Center. They create actually the videos themselves. And they are based on questions from the teachers who develop these platforms or these programs on their own. So that's why the level, the technical level is lower, and it's explained more easily than when it's just a video clip from the television, as this was here.
Okay, thank you, Sine.
Okay, thank you both. Yeah.
I have a question actually to Sine and Roskilde College and the Knowledge Center in general, is because for us, I agree with Francesca. I think the model is really great, but I think for our learners, vet learners, and they're really young, most of them, I think maybe the level is a bit too high at the level of English and content. And say my question is, would it be possible maybe to create all together, a few countries and you, a module that is dedicated to virtual and blended program exchange mobility, where we could work together on the content and the level of English, and then use this model when we want to do some virtual exchange between your learners and our learners that would be dedicated to this kind of activities.
So this would be a very nice idea, and right now I'm not able to answer your question because I don't know. We're just a part of the Knowledge Center, so we cannot decide anything from their side, of course. But we'll look into it and discuss it with them if that could be something that you would be interested in. So that could actually maybe make the foundation of creating an international platform, because it's based on a Danish platform, and everything, as you saw, was in Danish. So it's not that useful. I mean, if you sit in front of 20 or 30 students and you have to explain something from Danish to English, and that would just make a lot of confusion. So I think that it has to be adapted to an international setting, and we will definitely look into that if that's of your interest afterwards.
And Louise, we know that the Digital Center is willing to cooperate, because we had a Danish course concerning social media, and because Signe would like to have some virtual mobility, we had some of our English teachers to translate the core, and the Center of Knowledge put it into their form so that we actually can have that virtual mobility with the topic of social media. So they are quite interesting and cooperated so that we can have some virtual mobility in the platform.
That would be great. Thank you. And also, I think about what you said, Sine, about the platform, but maybe that's not an issue because, as you said, many organizations have Moodle, and we can create a module, a program altogether that is dedicated to virtual exchange, and then each organization can upload it on its own platform, for example.
The idea is great.
Yeah.
I like the idea as well. Okay. Okay, maybe we can, I don't know if anyone wants to react, or otherwise we can go to the next question. I don't know what you think, Tamara.
Yeah, let's go on. Yeah, I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. So for the question number 4, have you ever used virtual activities or digital learning in European projects, mobility projects, or like just transnational cooperation, strategic cooperation, exchange of good practices project, for example? Okay, we have a few yes. And those who said yes, we want to know what kind of projects and how you use digital learning in your projects.
So out of these people who answered yes, is there any person who would like to share the experience of which kind of project or which kind of learning, digital learning have you used?
So, hi.
Hi.
I'm Gabriela, and I come from Trento, and we are working with Sine at the project that she described first. So, yeah, it's very interesting, and we're very happy to share with the knowledge and the method with that Denmark partners. So thank you, Sine.
Thank you, Gabriela. Someone wrote in the chat 360 learning in an Interreg Marittimo with Italian partners. Christelle, can you please explain a little bit more about that? What is this project? 360 learning? Yeah.
Yes, I can, and I try with my English. Sorry for my English, but I prefer to speak in French. It's possible?
If someone translates, yeah.
I can try. The thing is, I think we're only like 2 or 3 French people, but if you want to do it in French, I can try to translate.
Merci Louise. Donc, moi, je travaille dans un CFA. Donc, j'ai mis en place depuis 2019 la plateforme 360 Learning. Et nous avons utilisé notamment, donc pour répondre simplement à la question, donc la plateforme pour nos partenaires italiens pour préparer un échange. Et nous avons utilisé du coup notre outil, créé du contenu et mis à distance les ressources pour nos partenaires. Ces ressources ont été traduites en italien et eux aussi ont utilisé la plateforme et ont mis du contenu traduit en français pour préparer l'échange pédagogique qui a eu lieu en octobre 2021. La plateforme a été utilisée soit via des connexions Internet, soit via smartphone. Et ça a permis, lors du confinement, lors du Covid, d'inverser l'échange. Nous avions normalement l'échange, puis la pratique pédagogique sur notre plateforme. Et là, on a fait l'inverse, vu qu'on n'avait pas le droit de se déplacer. On a fait les parties digitales et ensuite on a fait l'échange au mois d'octobre lorsque la situation sanitaire a été plus calme. Et du coup, ça a permis de construire des compétences et des références communes pour nos apprenants des deux côtés de la Méditerranée. Le projet étant un projet en lien avec le bâtiment, la construction durable. Voilà, donc 360 Learning, c'est une entreprise française et qui développe son outil pour des utilisateurs dans le monde entier et qui permet justement de paramétrer lors de la création des comptes, les comptes dans la langue de l'utilisateur. Donc, il a l'univers de la plateforme, un petit peu comme Facebook, qui s'adapte en fonction du profil d'utilisateur. Voilà. Après, je pourrais en parler pendant 2 heures, puisque c'est un projet que je porte depuis 3 ans. Donc, voilà.
C'est un LMS, mais c'est un...
Oui, c'est une LMS.
C'est un LMS, OK. So, merci beaucoup. J'espère que je vais rien oublier. Je vais faire de mon mieux. Okay, so I'll try to translate. I hope I won't forget anything. I try to take note, but say, Christelle works in a VET center, Center for Apprentices, and since 2019, she implemented in the training center an LMS platform, digital learning platform called 360 Learning. And actually, she used it to prepare an exchange of learners with her Italian partner. So they created, yes.
Je voudrais juste rajouter quelque chose, Louise, par rapport au droit. Au droit, en fait, que l'on a en France par rapport à l'utilisation des data. C'est une contrainte, je l'ai dit tout à l'heure en atelier, puisque nous devons garantir, en fait, en termes de RGPD, donc un certain nombre, voilà, je sais pas comment dire, mais on doit garantir que les données des utilisateurs ne seront pas réutilisées ou vendues. Et donc, on ne peut pas utiliser un certain nombre de plateformes voilà, qui ont l'air gratuites. C'est une contrainte pour nous, les établissements de formation français. Et donc, pour être en conformité avec le droit français et la réglementation, 360 Learning, justement, nous garantit cette adaptation à nos contraintes françaises. C'est important.
Yeah, thanks. I'll add this. So, Christelle was saying, so she used this LMS platform, this learning online learning platform to prepare an exchange of learners with her Italian partner. So what they did is that on both sides, they created some resources, some content, pedagogical content, and they put it on the platform, and the French partners translated all the resources in Italian, and the Italian partner translated all the content and materials in French and put everything on the platform. And the exchange took place in October 2021. And it was really useful because usually what they did before the COVID crisis is that they have the exchange, like physical exchange of learners, and then they use the online resources and pedagogical resources. Since due to the COVID crisis, they couldn't go and do the physical mobility, they just flipped. And they started with the digital learning, and it was really useful for them so they can keep the contact and keep alive the project. So they started with the digital part, online part, and then they did the physical mobility. And this project helped the learners to develop common references and competencies, common skills. And so just for you to know, so this project was done with learners from construction and sustainable construction. And so they use this 360 learning platform, which is a French platform. And what she said is interesting in this platform is that you can, in the parameters, it's really, it adapts to the profile of the user, and also the language, and everything can be changed really easily. And it was really important for them to use this platform because in France, we are really hardly regulated in terms of GDPR and private data protection. And we cannot use all the platforms we want. Even some platforms are really easy to use and they're free or really cheap, but sometimes it's not possible for a vet center, for a school to use them due to the French regulations. So that's why they made this choice. I hope I didn't forget anything. Christelle, let me know. But yes, that was the testimony. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup, Christelle. Thank you very much for your input.
Yeah, thank you, Christelle, and thank you, Louise, for making the effort to translate so much in a very short time.
No problem.
Okay, so yeah, shall we move to the next question then?
Yes.
Well, I see, sorry, just to commenting the results, I see that it was more or less balanced, although there were more people with experience already in virtual cooperation or using virtual tools for international cooperation somehow. Okay, so next one.
Next one, number 5, which kind of international cooperation would you like to be involved in? Say, we have staff mobility, learners mobility, virtual teaching, virtual cooperation among students, or other. But watch out, because if you say other, you have to tell us which kind of other project you would like to be involved in. Okay. And while people are answering, I just wanted to share also an experience we had last year during COVID-19. Also with Italian partner, we created a mobility, like virtual mobility project in the automotive sector called e-automobility. And the learners, French and Italian learners, worked together for 46 weeks, and they had online meetings every 2 weeks, and they worked together on activities related to protection, sustainability, and security in the workshop, in the companies. And it was really, really interesting. And we're going to do it next year. And this time we're going to have the online module they will do together, and then the real mobility where they will meet for real. And if you want to have any more information about the project, you can ask Francesca or me about this automotive e-automobility project.
Yeah, thank you, Louise, for the example. Does anyone want to comment on the activity that he or she has chosen and tell us why it could be interesting to be involved in this kind of cooperation? Bye, Gabriela. Thank you for attending.
Yeah, actually, we can see that there are a lot of people who answered virtual cooperation among students.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really interesting because, as we said, maybe we could, I think I really like the idea that it's good to share ideas about experiences that happen already, or maybe like with Cine, we had the idea we shared just before, maybe constructing together a module that would be dedicated to virtual cooperation among students we could all use in our platforms, for example.
Yeah.
Which kind, can you maybe, if someone wants to share, really if he or she has in mind a project he would like to implement, to be involved in, just tell us a bit more about it.
I just want to comment some of the responses, if it's possible, because I see staff mobility in a first instance, for example. And what come up in my mind in this moment is that we are in a phase that we come from 2 years of virtual mobility or virtual cooperation, in particular for trainers, because all meetings and all activities will have been done just virtually. Now it seems that people are a little bit tired, and people maybe would like to meet face to face and would start again to travel, even if we are living right now a moment where different countries have different situation from the pandemic point of view. So it's not possible to travel everywhere, and it's not possible for people from different country to travel and go abroad. But actually, it seems that for the future, maybe we should think about a balance between the virtual and the physical activity. I personally think that we don't have to forget what we have done in these last 2 years, but to use the virtual as a possibility to do some kind of activities and maybe study visits or training or other specific activities should be done face to face. I think that we have to find out a new balance between these two systems. So not forgetting what we have done virtually, but using the virtual to have alternative to do activities for the future. And in this way, maybe we can face the problem also of the sustainability of activities that we do. So we have a problem of balance in this moment, because we want to come back to the past and do things just face to face. But in my opinion, we don't have to forget that virtually you can still do things, and maybe you can spare time, you can spare energies, and a balanced way, I think that should be the future. That was just a comment.
Thank you, Francesca. And I think it's a very valuable comment. And actually, I would like to share also experience from one of our associated schools. It's a school that provides training in tourism. And they didn't have any international experience until last academic year. But virtual cooperation has proved to be a quite easy way to start doing international things, and in a excellent way to provide international experiences to all students, because we have to remember that not all students can go abroad, not all students can do a physical mobility, because we don't have grants for everybody, and even if we did, not everybody is ready or suitable or would like to go abroad for a while. But still we can offer international experiences and international education to all students if we go to virtual activities. And this experience I would like to share is completely virtual one between students in tourism from Bilbao and from the Netherlands and from Zwolle. And they have done a very simple activity. The English teachers of these students created a very simple activity to be done by the students, so they would have to exchange on cultural aspects of their own cities. And the activity was very simple, but the motivation it created among students and among teachers was really exponential, I would say, in such a way that actually they are doing it already this year, but they are already thinking of going a bit further and maybe develop something more sophisticated, so to say. And they are even talking now about a possible exchange of teachers between the schools to start preparing something else, and to get involved with each other in a deeper way. So it's just an example of how a school with no international experience at all, and with not a lot of resources to get involved in this kind of things, still can get involved in international activities in a low or slow way or softer way, let's say. And the the feedback or the results shared by the teachers and by the students are always so good and so positive that they it's a way to start the motivation with this in a way. And then you can always go bigger if you need to. Okay, so let's move to the next one then.
Luis, your mic is off. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay, really sorry. And thank you, Tamara, for sharing your remarks and experience. So question number 6, what obstacles or difficulties do you already or could you encounter in setting up this type of projects? Any ideas? If you have already implemented this kind of project, what was complicated, what is still complicated, or if you are expecting or hoping to implement this kind of project, what do you think will be difficulties? Okay, we have 2 answers. Maybe you're gonna wait for a few more. Okay. Say, we can maybe let a few minutes and then read the answers and comment.
Well, I see that time it's a constant here. So lack of time, lack of tools, lack of resources, involvement of teachers, money and time, finding a partner to work with, tools and time, leaving the comfort zone, lack of support from colleagues and management. Language can be an issue as well sometimes.
Yeah. Involvement of teachers is true. Teachers have so much to do already. With the teaching, with the exams, with everything, and it's true that it is time consuming. But we can see that lack of time is really coming back a lot, and resources. That's really the two.
Sine, you want to comment something?
Yes, maybe it's not the right time to comment on this, but I just wanted to say that the virtual exchange that we're working on right now between Denmark and Italy, I don't think that language is a barrier because it works out very well. I was so surprised that both students from Denmark and Italy, they spoke easily in English, and they very fast they exchange their Snapchat accounts and stuff like that. So they were very easy or fast to communicate with each other. So I don't think that we should be that afraid of the language barrier, because young people, they connect easily if they find it interesting, even though that it might be a little bit difficult with the language. So just maybe it was not an obstacle, it was the opposite, but I still
maybe it's more a question of being afraid of that being an obstacle more than actually being an obstacle, because what I saw in the different experiences I was involved as well is that young people, well, and also adult people, can communicate even if the language is not perfect. And there is an advantage that normally this kind of cooperations take part between non-English speaking countries. So our English is not perfect at all, and then we can understand our accents quite much better than if we are talking with a native. So and then there are many ways to communicate, not only verbal interaction, but also gestures and sometimes knowing the context and knowing the framework and the background of the people, it's easy to understand even if you don't understand word by word, but you can still get the message. So So I think that's, yeah, it's not such a problem. It seems when you start, because you start thinking, they are not going to be able to work because their English is not good, or my English as a teacher is not good. But then at the end, it works. The exchange is there anyway. So
yeah. So don't worry. I think it's easy for them to communicate.
yeah, I think the lack of time and probably the lack of support, because I think these two come together. As Luis said, teachers are already full, more than full sometimes with all the things they have to do, and this is something they have to put an effort anyways, even if it can be a small activity. And if they don't receive the support from the management or maybe from their colleagues as well, like covering some lessons or giving some free time to work on this, or at least giving them the training or the tools already, then it's more difficult if it's all the weight on the teachers and nobody else is involved, of course.
You have a few more answers. Time consuming for teachers, required English level for students must be adequate. Lack of time, both teachers and learners, that's true. Lack of technical and linguistic skills of learners. And also, I had two comments. I think you're right. We should not be worried about the language barrier, but I understand, because I understand we can have fear, because when we send learners abroad, like physically, we're like, for my example, they are mechanics, and we know that when they are in the garage and they have the hands on the engine, they will understand each other. There's no problem. It's really the gesture. You can see it. Online, you cannot do this. But as you said, they're really resourceful, and they always find a way. But I think what's really interesting here, and this is something we've noticed as well, is not only the linguistic skills, but also technical skills of the learners, because they are really, really good at smartphone, and they can use a smartphone very good, and they're really good in using TikTok and Instagram and this kind of stuff. But when they have to use digital tools, technical tools for like more in a more professional way, and like Zoom or a Teams meeting, and sending emails and sharing documents on a drive and all these things, that for us is like basics, because that's what we do in our professional life. What we have, I don't know if only the French learners, but really they're so bad at it. They're so bad at it. They're so good with their smartphone, but the computers, there's really, it's complicated. And this is something that for our project E-Auto Mobility was complicated. So I totally agree with this comment, but that's a good way, because they can, it's good for us because we're gonna level up our digital competencies, but their digital competencies as well.
I don't know if someone wants to comment on this, a lack or low digital skills of students. I guess, yeah, Sine wants to comment, yeah?
Yes, I'm just a bit surprised to hear that, because when we were sent home to online, to working online with the students, that was here, at least here in Denmark, that was part of our everyday life, that the students had to attend. We're using Teams as a platform, so they had to attend every day and show their presentations and their screens and stuff like that. So I'm quite surprised to hear that. Maybe it was because that you were able to be more at schools, present at schools than what we were, but that's not an issue here from the Danish end, I think, regarding the students.
Well, I think they got much better now that the COVID has been there. But before the COVID and the lockdown, they were at school 100% of the time. Never used Teams, never had online classroom and everything, and it was really complicated at the beginning. Now it's been 1.5 years. They're way better at it now. I agree.
I had the same experience as you, Luis, because well, maybe with the COVID now it's a bit different, but I remember the first times we were doing this kind of virtual cooperation, and they had so many questions, and the problem is not that they are not used to use the platforms, Teams or Google or whatever they are using. The problem is that they were not able to learn by themselves, because I think that many of us have learned by doing. So I never got a training in Teams or whatever, but I managed to use it because I've been practicing, and then I learn by doing. It's a self-learning thing, but for them it was very difficult to find out how to go to the different options, or to share a screen, or to create a Skype account or whatever. And it was surprising that they are so used to use technology, but actually they are not able to learn by themselves with technology, or at least they have a lot of difficulties. And that's true that it was something that I noticed, at least before the COVID. Maybe now, well, everybody got more expert in using digital tools because of COVID. So maybe they are as well. Okay, so we are running out of time, and maybe there are some things to comment or to ask. So let's, yep, this one. So it came just in time.
Exactly, it's perfect. So if you have just any comment or question, please don't hesitate. And then I think we'll leave the floor to the conclusion, to Francesca for the conclusion, I guess.
Yes, I think so. Thank you very much, Louise and Tamara, and yes, Lydia, for sharing the screen, and you both for having managed this part of our workshop, because actually I think that it's very helpful to try to understand, to think about, to reflect on the methodology. And I would like also to thank Sine Felding and all the digital team of Roskilde Business College for this presentation. I actually would like to say to you that if you have comment or questions, maybe in the next hours, you can send to us an email, and we will collect possible questions, and then we will answer to them. We will forward them to Sine, and we will answer to them in a follow-up phase. So if you maybe later on have some doubts, or you want to ask something, you can do, of course, send to us the question, the doubt you have, and we will forward to Sine, and then we will answer to you. I just want to remind all participants that we will send to you an evaluation form to see if this workshop was useful up to you, and yes, if you found it helpful also for your work, for your professional context, and so on. So we will thank you if you have just 2 minutes to fill in the evaluation. And we will send to you also the material and the registration of this workshop. So you will find it in the website of Scuola Centrale Formazione and in the website of partners here. So Hetel, Anfa, Masinska Scuola Pančevo, and Roskilde Business College. So, but we will send all material and the registration, so presentation, registration, and also the results of the Mentimeter to all participants here login. So this is actually my conclusion. Just a thank you for the participation. And yeah, if you have questions later on, you can send to us an email and we will answer to you.
Thank you very much, Francesca.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Have a nice day.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Sine. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Må I bare gå?
Helt uden at læse op eller tale fransk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good, I think.
Yes, I think
it
that
went all right.
we have just a participant here.
Yes.
But maybe she's not connected actually.
Never mind.
So how are you?
Well, we're fine from our end. I think it went very well.
Yeah.
So many of the breakout rooms, it was my impression because I went from room to room to follow it a bit. And many of the rooms, they were discussing a lot and had a lot of questions actually, which was very nice. And some of them didn't work out that well, but you know, that depends on the participants also. Right.
Okay. So if a participant will send to us questions,
yes, you
we
just
will forward
them
to you. Yes, we will forward to you. In any case, we will send, I think, in a couple of days, the registration and the presentations.
Yes.
For you, it's not a problem if we share your presentation in our website.
Feel free to do
we
that.
send it to our so that participants